Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this week's installment of the Bama Factor. Alex Taylor, host as always. Taylor, got a little bit of an abbreviated show here for you. First of all, for my sincerest apologies for the late upload in the week. Thanksgiving being this upcoming week, and Christmas time coming around. A lot of scrambling and things to do. Also, a few things with work as well, but wanted to hop on here, able to bring week's episode. A little bit of a hard one to make. Um, suffered our second loss of the season um, last year, and part of me is actually glad I kind of put the episode off because I don't think I could have done it on Monday. I think I needed to clear my head after the game and really kind of think about what I wanted to say, how I want, and but there's actually something I'm gonna go a little off script here. Um, and first and foremost, you're listening to the Bama Factor with Taylor. Thank you for joining in. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Listening to this, coming at you through the power of the internet always. And we thank you guys for tuning in each and every week. Show what it is. You guys are absolutely the greatest. So I'm actually going to start out with a little bit of a developing story, and it appears that Alabama head coach Kalen DeBoer has emerged as the top target for the Penn State job. Now, I've had some people send me a message and, um, you know, do you think this is true? Do you think this is just a smokescreen? What do you really? What I really think of this is that I'm gonna make it short and sweet. I don't see why Kalen would leave. Alabama, it's the best job anywhere out there. He's got the best resources. And I don't think that Penn State will be able to lure him away from Alabama. I think this is the job that he wants to be at, the place that he wants to be at, and build. And I think he is building it. So, overall, I don't really buy the fact that leave Alabama, um, and I don't think that he. So, overall, for me, I just want to kind of clear that. Say I don't think true. I think if you look at the author of the article, it is a Penn State writer and journalist, so they're trying to be op. I guess they're trying to be op here, but I really don't. Jalen leave Alabama at this. Again, I could be wrong, but I just don't really see him, especially in a playoff position, thing like that. Just wanted to address that, but not really going to speak too much on um, Oklahoma game. Just heartbreaker. 23-21. Turnovers really were the story of the game. 3 for us, 0 for Oklahoma. So, taking care of the ball. And it was the nature of our turnovers, a pick six, 7 points. The fumble resulted in a touchdown from John Mateer, a few plays later. And the fumble resulted in a field goal. So 17 of the 23 points, came off of turnovers. And if you just eliminate one of those, Alabama wins the ball game. So, there's some things that we sure got to fix. But outside of that, what makes this hard to swallow is the fact that we outgained them in every category on offense and really outplayed them on offense. Our defense played fantastic, and I'm going to talk about that later. But just you hate to see Alabama lose a game like that, but you kind of wonder in the last couple weeks, offense was sputtering, the defense was playing well, but the offense was playing how they were the season, middle point of the season. Had to wonder if that would catch up with them, and did finally. The inability to have offensive consistency, something that you talked about on previous shows, and something that they're going to have to address. Sure. So obviously, we've lost to Oklahoma. Still in the SEC championship race. Still very much in the CFP race. The road got a little bit harder. Alabama drops to 10 in the CFP ranking, so it's going to be a little bit harder. And made it hard on ourselves as well. But we've got to bounce back. I believe that's what the team is going to do. Kind of getting into my next segment. Again, Ty continues to struggle. I hate saying this because I know I'm going to get a lot of pushback on this, but I posted something right after the game Saturday, with just my initial thoughts, and I said this tie was 1,000, or this loss was 1,000% on Ty, and I want to not necessarily retract my statement. I want to correct it. It's not fair for me to put it on one guy. It is. We have won as a team. We've lost, but I will say that Ty part in, and you can blame whoever else. But and I'm not trying to assess blame, but you look at the play of Ty. He did some really good things in the so he did throw for did throw. He did lead some very, very good drives. But he also did some very critically damaging things. Pick six, overthrow, underthrow, sack, fumble. For the sixth straight game, lost a fumble. You can blame the offensive line, but that's not the line's fault. When you hold the ball too long, you are being careless with the ball back. Even Oklahoma's defense said we knew what we were calling because I was struggling with ball security. So when you got the other team seeing a weakness, you've got to. And if it's not corrected, that's what they saw on film. They were like, he's had 5 straight games where he's done this. If we get to him, we're going to cause him to fumble. And again, that was 10 of the points right there. So Ty is just struggling, and it's just he's trying to do too much. He's not wanting to take off and run, which again, I'm not saying he has to run every time. He needs to learn when to cut his losses and try to force a ball over somebody, under somebody, or into tight cover. Just he's not playing with the same poise that he was playing with at the beginning of the year. Like I look back at the Georgia game and last week's game, it's 2 different people. One of them is this confident quarterback who is leading an offense, who is leading a charge, and then the other one against Oklahoma is like this scared, jittery 18-year-old kid, who's playing like a true freshman, and like we saw at Florida State. Like I'm not saying the offensive line do it, but when offensive line is held up in pass protection, he still bails out to her. He's back to getting out of the pocket way too early. And I don't know why he bails out or he thinks that he needs to bail out. He doesn't let plays develop at all these last couple games, and I really do not know why. So that's something that he's got to fix, and he's got to just quit trying to do too much and just let the game come to him. He's got to step up in the pocket, got to protect the ball, and because we're gonna need that, especially in 2 weeks. We're gonna need that. That's all I want to say about Ty. I still love Ty. I know he's our QB. I'm gonna be behind him, but got to fix things if we have successful. If he doesn't, we're gonna be so. But another thing that I want to say, and I don't mean to say this in a condescending way. I don't mean to say it in like I would never ever just solely and intentionally bash a player. But I said from the first ever episode I did, podcast, started my page, I said I was going to be brutally honest whether any of you fans or you. Sometimes we need to be told and accept a hard truth. This hard truth is going to make some of you mad. It's going to make some of you potentially follow my page. It's going to potentially stop listening to my show. And that's okay. You're entitled to do that. But what I'm about to say is 100% what needs to happen. Our backfield, I'm referring to our tailbacks, Jam Miller does not need to see the field the rest. And I know that's harsh, but it's the truth. He has become more of a liability than an asset to our backfield now. Not hitting holes. He's not following his blocks. He's doing too much dancing in the backfield. Not performing at all in pass protection. He's whiffing on blocks. He's forgetting blocks. He's forgetting assignments. Not catching the ball out of the backfield. When he does, getting tackled for losses. He's not getting upfield. Not cutting the ball up. And at this point, Daniel Hill is our running back. He is RB1 at this point, period. Point blank. And he needs to be. He has proved himself since the Missouri game that he needs to be that guy. He was very good this past Saturday. One of the really good bright spots. 2 touchdowns on the ground, really good through the air too, as a receiving back. And Jam's just not hitting it right now. He's not. So I need to see more of Daniel Hill. I need to see Kevin Riley again. I don't know why we've gone away from Kevin Riley. They need to give Riley some more touches. He is one of those speed backs, the guy who can give you a little bit of a burst, a jolt. We'll love to see AKD or Dre Washington transferred in for what? The dude hasn't hardly played this year. You can't tell me that he's sitting on the bench and that he's not be a really good back. So, but Jam, I think Jam's career at Alabama needs to be over. I know it's not gonna be, but just in my opinion, it needs to be done. And I appreciate everything he's done. I love Jam. I do. Here's it. Jam, I mean no disrespect whatsoever. But he's clearly got something going on. Mentally, physically, something, because he just has not been the same running back that we last couple of years. Seems like came back against Georgia, played pretty well coming back from an injury. The next week against Vanderbilt, not just a 100-yard game. I'm like, okay, he's back. Then he gets to Missouri, has the concussion. Ever since then, he hasn't been. I think he's still kind of playing a little. I'm not going to say concussed, but there's something, some type of block, because he's not running the ball well. He has not run the ball effectively at all. I don't think Jam's had a touchdown since the Vanderbilt. So that just ought to show you right. Again, I just think that you've got to cut your losses, and the coaching staff needs to see that Hill is our best option at tailback. And I hope I get proved wrong. I hope that Jam comes out these next 2, 3, 4 games and really proves me wrong. But as of right now, there needs to be a change. Hill needs blank period. That's all I'm gonna say. Jam, I love you, man. So thankful for everything you've done. I think you're a great tailback, but you got to figure it out. The time for too good of a tailback, too talented, too strong, too fast, too agile, not be running the ball more effectively. All right. That's all I'm doing. But the other bright spot in the game that I'm really going to discuss, and again, this has been for the last couple of weeks, really Georgia game, but it's the defense. They just continue to play such a dominant football. I mean, really just critical stops. The one pet peeve I had about Saturday is that we dropped about 4 interceptions, 2 for sure picks in that game. That Oklahoma was lucky. Justin Jefferson had one, Red Morgan had one, and we should have picked off a lot of his passes. But our defense is playing very well, and we've got to get after the quarterback more. I wish Kane Womack would really dial up some more pressure, rush 4. We rush 3 a lot and just give the quarterback throw. Our secondary is not going to hold up forever. Our secondary has been doing very well, I think. But the defense just continues to play lights out. I mean, Justin Jefferson and Deontay Lawson are playing well. We held Oklahoma to 3 of 18, third down. Absolutely just incredible effort by our defense to give our offense time, and it's just a lot of like last year. The defense was keeping us in games, and our offense is up tonight. Our offense and defense click at the same time, like it was Georgia, like it was Tennessee. You see what we're capable of. So we've got to get back to that. But the defense, Johanze Pierre is still playing at a high level. I think Dijon Lee is playing at a good level. Nikai Hill-Green has played very well. Red Morgan has exploded onto. I think he is playing extremely well. just the way he attacks the football, and he has made a name for himself. He's gotten more playing time, with a couple of guys, kind of subbing in and out, and he's really kind of that. I think he gives the defense some excuse too. But he played very well at the line. Did really well on the run game on that side of the ball. Played really well in the trenches, I thought. Um, and but the defense just continues. I think that's the hope that we're still going to have. That the defense at some point is going to have to score. It looks like if the offense doesn't catch up, then the defense is going to, and they're going to have to put us in good field position. But I hope that we can play some complementary football. Now I kind of want to jump into the CFP outlook. Obviously, Tuesday night rankings came out. Alabama dropping from 4 to 10. A couple controversial things that were pretty much made that show, and one of them was putting Notre Dame ahead of Alabama and also ahead of Miami. Just a lot of weird things. And something that the CFP chair said really bothers me, and I'm about to go scorched earth. This is my scorched earth segment here. So the CFP chair comes out and says one of the main reasons that Alabama was put in the 10 spot and they put the Irish above Bama is they went all the way back to week 1 against Florida State and said Alabama did not rush for over 100 yards. And then they went back and said Alabama needed 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter to beat South Carolina on the road. Then they said they didn't run the ball well against Oklahoma. They didn't run the ball well against LSU. So that warranted them at 10. I'm sorry. When did how many yards you rush for, or pass for, or statistics in a game determine your ranking in the college football playoff? I mean, answer me that. That's not a data point at all. You have strength of schedule, strength of record, conference prestige, common opponents, FPI, overall record, the good wins, the ranked wins, maybe a good loss, the bad losses. Did we lose Florida State? Yes, we did. I'm not denying that. But to sit there and say that one of the reasons that we did is that because we lost to Florida State and we didn't rush for over 100 yards, and then you said it took 2 touchdowns to beat South Carolina on the road. Well, if you're going to keep that same logic, how about go to your number 3 ranked team, Texas A&M, who took a 28-point comeback in the second half to beat them by 1 at home. And then if you really want to go to the reason that they also said why Oklahoma jumped Alabama, is they said head-to-head matchup, Oklahoma beat Alabama. Okay, fine. I completely agree with that. If we would have beaten them, we should have been ahead of them. All right? Here's the other thing. Playing that with Miami and Notre Dame. Miami beat Notre Dame the early part of the season, but yet they have the same record, but Miami isn't ahead of them. I'm on the Miami fan side here. I see their argument. They should be ahead of the Irish. The Irish have no business being in the top 10. The Irish have no business being in the top 15 or 20 at all. They're an independent school. They don't play in a conference. They don't have to worry about a conference championship game. They play a lackluster schedule. And you can say, oh, well, we play Texas A&M and Miami. Yeah, and you lost those games. And it doesn't matter by how much. You lost. All right? So, just like us, we lost to Oklahoma. All right? We did. We lost to Florida State. Counts. But now all of a sudden they're penalizing Alabama because they didn't run the ball well enough. Really? And that we were in a tight game with South Carolina. We won the ball game. So what if we're in a tight game every game? And this is what I want to say to the CFP chair. I want to say, if you're really gung-ho about that, and you need to see people run the ball well in order to be ranked in there, well, your top 4 teams should be Army, Air Force, and Navy, and maybe another team that runs the triple option. Because they don't hardly pass the ball. But they run the ball well every game. So what happens if you have a team that's undefeated, or maybe with 1 loss, but let's say they pass the ball more predominantly than they run the ball. If you have some of the air raid offenses that don't run the ball much, or let's say you have the heavy ground and pound type guys and they don't pass the ball much, like a Navy, like an Army, are you going to penalize them because they didn't run the ball or pass the ball enough? Really? That's not a data point. they're making up the data points, and you can call me crazy, and you can call me a Alabama fan or whatever, but overall, they make up these data points to keep or to try their best to keep Alabama out of the playoff, and that's what they're going to continue. And in my opinion, you don't need a CFP chair who is the AD at Arkansas, a team that's never going to reach the college football playoff, probably for the next 20 years or so, or ever at that. The dude's clearly salty. He had a lot to say about Alabama, but then he turns right around and then he makes an excuse for Notre Dame. Oh, well, they only lost by a combined 4 total points. No, they're setting the precedent that they don't want Alabama. So my advice to all the Bama players and the whole Bama team, if you hear this, go beat Eastern Illinois. Go beat our little brother. Go to the SEC title game and beat whoever the heck is on the other side of that. And then they have no choice. You just got to win. Because they clearly don't want us in. Clearly don't want to see Alabama in the playoff. When we have, it's almost like the 4 ranked wins in a row and the 8-game win streak just went out the door. And the strength of schedule that we have, strength of record went out. FPI went out the door. The fact that, we did it against 4 ranked opponents went out the door. Like it's like that never happened. And they're not even using that. But as far as this, there's just one common goal here. It's just you got to go win your next 3 ball games. Starts with Eastern Illinois Saturday. You got to go to Auburn. You got to do it at a very tough place to play at night. Auburn doesn't have anything to lose. Interim head coach. They're fighting for bowl eligibility and a chance to ruin our season. That's their national championship. That's their Super Bowl. They're going to be gearing up all week for it. They're going to be ready for it. Then you've got to win that to make the SEC title. If you don't win in Auburn, then your season's done. You're going to a bowl game. You're not making the playoff. So the biggest thing, Alabama has got to dig deep these next. And really, I would say the SEC title game, because I'll say this: if you will, so last year 10-3 SMU team that went to the ACC championship game and lost it, finished 10-3, made the playoff as the 12 team, as the 12 seed over Alabama. And the committee themselves said, can't punish a team because they made the conference championship. So if Alabama gets to finishes 10-3, what are you going to do? What are you really going to do, committee? I know what you're going to do. You're going to keep them out of it because you can't stand seeing it. That's why I say you need to go and you point blank. That's all you need to do. Go there and you need all we need. All we must do. Got to do that. So now, as we round up this episode, we're going to preview the Illinois game. Senior Day, Bryant-Denny Stadium, Saturday, 1 p.m. Central on Network Plus. First time Alabama playing on a additional channel this year. Seems like we've played on ABC almost every game this year. But overall, just really looking forward to seeing these seniors and their last time in Tuscaloosa playing in Bryant-Denny Stadium, and 27 seniors that will be honored prior to the Eastern Illinois game. Jeremy Bernard, Josh Wavis, Brody Dalton, Cam Dewberry, Blake Dowd, Hikai Hill Green, Domani Jackson, Deshaun Jones, Tim Keenan III, Deontay Lawson, Jam Miller, LT Overton, Jaden Roberts, Graham Roten, Gino Vandermark, and those are the 17 scholarship. There are 10 additional that are walk-ons that will be recognized as well. And for those of y'all wondering, Justin Jefferson won't be honored He was granted an extra year of eligibility, so he was honored a year ago, but he would also be part of that out of eligibility. And Jamarian Latham was also honored a year ago as well, so he could pursue a medical red shirt and come here, considering the fact that he. But those are some of the guys. Again, all the guys I just named, and actually I did say Justin Jefferson, so he will be honored. I actually did say him, so he will be honored. But overall, these guys, just a lot of these guys, of course, Nick Saban recruits the majority of them, and just to see these guys, they've stayed through the transition, they've been a part of great program, and had a lot of success with them as well, and super proud of all these guys and done for the university, and guys have played a huge role. And obviously, taking on Eastern Illinois FCS opponent Saturday, they come in 3-7. This is their last game of the year, or I'm sorry, they come in 3-8. Their last game of the year. They're a part of the Ohio Valley Conference. Well, so playing smaller school here still in the FCS. Not averaging a lot of points, but not a game you can overlook. But it's also a game where Alabama needs to get its offensive swing. That's really what I want them on this game. That's really what I would love to see. I would love us to really dial in on the specifics. Just know, hey, go in there and take care of your business. Get some of the younger guys playing time, and get prepared for Auburn. But use this as an opportunity to launch yourself into the iron and to get prepared. Ty needs to get his swagger back, kind of like how we did against Louisiana Monroe, 17-17, 3 for 4 downs, only played the first half. That's what he needs to come back out and do. That's really kind of what started Ty's ride there, and he really needs to get back to that. The defense still needs to really go out, take care of business. Tune up some things, tackle well, force some turn. At the end of the day, it's the last one at home this year. Outside of the Oklahoma game, a lot of really good moments. Protected home turf, fairly well, and they go out and they need to finish it. Everybody healthy and get ready for next. It was going to be a war at all. But as far as my prediction, this should be no less than 6-7 touchdown win for Alabama. If it's not, I'll be highly disappointed. I don't want this lackadaisical. I don't want this to be a game to the motions. I want to dominate this. To dominate like Louisiana Monroe when we lost to Florida State. Came out, we dominated every aspect, and we won 73. That's what we've got to come out and honestly, my prediction could be 62 to 7, maybe 2-3. It could be a 55 to 3, 55-7 type game. But we need to come out and really take care of business. That's what we've got to do. But overall, everything's still in front of us. The goals are still attainable, and the team knows that. And I know that they're going to bounce back and really get after it. So, super excited about what we're going to see. Hope everybody has a great college football Saturday. A lot can still happen. Chaos is ensuing, and we're here for it. At the end of the day, it's still Roll Tide always, and we got to bounce back and start a new streak this Saturday. So hope everybody has a evening, great day, great morning, whatever time you're listening to this. Thank you guys so much. Be sure to follow me on Instagram, X, and TikTok at the.bama.factor as well, especially Instagram. We're closing in on 30K. Need your guys' help to really get me there before the end of the year. Be sure to follow and stream this podcast as well everywhere. Spotify, Apple Podcast. Really, really trying to make it a point to stream on those and download the episode. That helps us way more notoriety as well, and just really keeps our show top of some of the most downloaded content industry. So thank you guys so much. Hope you guys have a great rest of your week, a great college football Saturday. We will see you next week for a Thanksgiving special week. Alabama and Auburn preview what should be a very interesting. Good night. God bless. Roll Tide.